This is about security or not. It's about people in our country who work so hard to protect the American people in the intelligence community, and to be frivolous with their identity or roads that can lead to them.
You're saying that you think it puts lives at stake if this memo comes out?
Well, I'm saying that intelligence that is necessary for other countries to share with us, why would they put it at the mercy of Dennis Nunes, who doesn't even read the memo, and say the American people should see it? And the American people, they have their own jobs to do. They're not there saying, now I'm going to redact a memo because I know what is true, I know what is false.
No, I'm saying you guys redact what you need to redact, but then let the American people decide.
But that's not the way intelligence works. That's not the way it works. It's not this isn't a subject about what's in the tax bill or what's not in the tax bill. This is a question of what is important to our national security to be secure. So, and again, let me take it to another subject, because they do these things as a distraction. It's totally irresponsible. It isn't one person in the intelligence community recognizing the sacrifice that our men and women in the intelligence community make for our country's security that would say this is not reckless.
Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, obviously, recently selected by President Trump. He got the memo. He could have come out and said, this is reckless, don't release it.
Let me just say this with all due respect. You really don't know what you're talking about right now.
But did Christopher Wray look at it or no?
I can't say whether he did or not, but he did not. In order to redact, you have to have the people who know the
I'm not saying redact.
facts.
I'm saying if these concerns are so sharp and obvious.
Well, they've already said not to release it. They already said not to. The Justice Department already said it would be reckless to release it. You said that earlier. In your
the DOJ said it. We've been reporting it. Absolutely. But now there's this word that is somewhat of a compromise.
Well, wait a minute. I want to tell you something. Let me just say this. The Republican Party has, as I said, crossed over to cover up. They're deadly afraid of the Russia investigation. We don't want the investigation to be anything but based on the law and the facts, and let the investigation proceed. That's the right thing to do for our country. We have to be respectful of law. We have to be respectful of intelligence.
Absolutely.
And the rest. And what they're doing is reckless in regard to both. But the fact is also that it is a distraction from the fact that they've passed a tax bill that gives 83% of the benefits to the top 1%. They'd like to distract from that. 86 million middle-class Americans.
So that you just saw right there was Nancy Pelosi on CNN, basically just slandering Republicans and basically the entire Intelligence Committee about the whole vote over releasing the so-called memo that allegedly shows that the FBI and the Department of Justice colluded with each other during the Obama administration to help undermine Donald Trump's candidacy to the presidency. That's kind of weird how I said it, the candidacy to the presidency. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. How this is just it's all big development, considering that the intelligence committee is definitely getting kind of a lot of heat over this, because it's not, and I'm not just talking about in terms of the whole memo thing. I'm talking about also the whole Russian collusion thing, how they're from the Democrats' point of view, they're actually trying to cover up this whole claim that Russia colluded with, or no, Trump colluded with the Russians and stuff. Which obviously, despite the fact that it's been like 2 years since basically these accusations came out, there has been no possible truth. Hell, I don't even know why Robert Mueller is still leading this investigation. What's the point if it's been over 2 years? What's the point? He should have found something by now. But I'm getting completely sidetracked again. So, Nancy Pelosi basically is against the whole idea of releasing the memo over the situation, talking about the along with the text between the DOJ and the FBI. Now, I do not know if the texts are going to be sent out along with the memo. However, she did say, well, however, it may be a possibility. That I will say it could be a possibility that those texts would be released alongside the memo, and that wouldn't really surprise me. But Nancy Pelosi has been continually using this argument that it's a big national security issue when it comes to stuff like this memo. I'm sorry. It's kind of. I'm sorry, but Nancy Pelosi, the whole memo, this is not really a national security issue. This is a law issue. This has to show. This must be evidence on whether or not it shows that the government was interfering with the election, or if the Democrats were trying to figure out a way to steal the election from Trump or something. Now, I'm not saying that did happen, but again, that could be a possibility. It could be as much of a possibility as the proof that Bernie Sanders was cheated out of the Democratic National Convention from winning the nomination for the Democratic Party. I wouldn't support that guy, but again, he should have won, to be honest. But continuing on, she completely tries to say that this is a complete cover-up, that the Republicans are just trying to use it to shield this whole investigation from the Russians. Obviously, the Democrats are under damage control because they know how much this whole memo is and how important it is to the Republicans. Basically, if this proves what Republicans say is true, that the Obama administration, or at least parts of it, were trying to undermine Donald Trump from getting the presidency, then this would hurt the Democrats, because this not only paints the face of them being delusional because of the Russian investigation, but it also paints them as people who are trying to undermine our democracy from the ground up. Despite the fact that we even elected Donald Trump as our president, they're just trying to. This would definitely paint the face of them being just people who do not really give a crap about our democracy and our election result we had in 2016. And I think that's definitely going to be a major hit on the Democrats. A very major hit. If it turns out that any of this is true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's not my place to judge for right now. But here's the thing. Say this memo is the truth. This will hurt the Democrats' chances further. Forget what happened with the whole government shutdown, with DACA, with the tax reform. Forget all of that. Just forget about that for 1 second. Just forget even about Donald Trump's triumphs. If this memo proves exactly what the Republicans have been saying, this will paint the Democrats in a bad light. This will hurt them in the midterm. And when that happens, they're not would, in fact, make them lose a few more seats in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. That would be my prediction. This memo is definitely going to be a major focusing point for the Republicans, and it's definitely going to be a lot of ammunition for them to use against the Democrats in the midterms. That I believe. And although it's 10 months from now, since it's 10 months from election day in November, this is definitely going to be brought up a lot, especially with the Republicans. Honestly, I wouldn't blame them. This is an opportunity for them to grab more seats in the Senate and in the House of Representatives and maintain control. I wouldn't blame them. This is an obvious political political move, and it's kind of brilliant from a political perspective. So, if this turns out to be true, then basically the Democrats can just forget about the Democrat seats and basically toss up states like, say, Missouri, or even maybe even in I think Louisiana. No, not Louisiana. Basically like West Virginia, those toss up states. They can forget about this, guys. The only real chance I would see them at this point in winning any Senate seats would be in hard-leaning Democrat states. That's like Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, New York, and the Pacific states, including here in Washington. Those are the only places that I expect them to do good. Of course, that may change. That may change. My prediction for that may change as we get closer and closer to the election for the midterms. But for right now, I would have to say the Democrats, unless they get their act together and they prove that this Memo thing is false, they're screwed. They're screwed in both the short term and in the long term. My name is Noah Meehan. I will be making another. I'm gonna be thinking about making another video tomorrow on the State of the Union address. So stay tuned for that, and please make sure to subscribe to this channel, post comments, and like this video, and share it with your friends and others. I would appreciate it. My name is Noah Meehan from the Arc of Truth. See ya.